Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the very hot filming day today in my little studio upstairs. So today we're going to talk about how to make the mixed media life a little bit easier. Simple mixed media tips for you to start with. If you want to know how to simplify, make your mixed media art making a little bit easier, stay tuned, coming up next. Okay, we have a whole bunch of stuff here. So I'm gonna start with surfaces. What you can use for do mixed media on. So we have different varieties here. One thing is, just go buy yourself a cheap notebook, or maybe you have one at home you don't need use anymore. Makes a great mixed media book. Okay, just a cheap. It can be lined or not lined, it doesn't matter. $3 or whatever. You also can use old or magazines that you don't read much anymore. I like to use the ones that have the real thick pages. So they're like the artsy fartsy ones, or I don't know, they're just thicker than the regular magazines. Especially I like to use this kind, which has a really nice photography, graphic design in it. Pictures, maps, so even the inlays I like. So you can use that. Then this is a mixed media sketchbook. You can use this. The only downside is see what happens to it? It keeps on doing this. So I don't really like these for mixed media because I don't actually like them at all. I like the pages, but it's just they're so tight. Like how do you, and you can only use one page at a time. It's really hard to do a double spread. So I mean, you can use them, but not my favorite. Speaking of papers, you can also get a mixed media paper pad. It's like watercolor paper almost, but it's mixed media. It's not quite as coarse, but you can use that too. Or watercolor paper. Or you can use an old journal like this one, and you just stick pages together to make them thicker so you can work better with them. Then cardboard works too. And there's another thinner magazine. What you can do with these ones is you can gesso or put whatever color acrylics on it, white or black or whatever color you want, and then it makes them a little pliable and thicker to work with. Works too. What I also use is old canvases that I don't like anymore. I don't like these anymore, so I'm gonna mix media over top of it. And here's even an old door panel I'm going to use at some point. Not sure yet what. I have like 6 of them, I think. And there's an old cookbook, like any book. You can either use it as a mixed media journal, or you can just rip the pages out and use them on their own. Like, you don't have to go out and buy expensive substrates. Of course, you can also use your regular canvases. I don't have a white one right in front of me, but you know what I'm talking about. Just a regular white canvas. You can also use wood. These are fun coasters you can use. And I have a whole bunch of wood canvases, tiny little ones for a project. You can see they're birch panels, they're called. So anything, paper, wood, cardboard. And even it could be other glass. You probably can do that too, but you know, I stick to that. So these are the tips. You can just use what you have at home. Now, when you're using these things, secondly, you need to prepare the pages because it makes it way easier for you to work. Because you're going to put collages, you're going to put paint, you're going to put stickers, you're going to put, I don't know, sometimes you can put like mud, like Venetian, what I call plaster stuff you can put on. There's different kinds of medias you can put on, acrylic mediums. So what you do is either stick another page on top, like I did here, or you gesso it. This is liquid gesso here. I just got this on, can't remember where, on some kind of art website. It was cheap. I always look for deals. I don't buy the expensive Liquitex one when I do mixed media, especially if I do art journaling. It doesn't have to be the most expensive. Or you can use white acrylic paint, or you also can use matte medium. It kind of gives it the stiffness too you can work on. You just need something, or you can use Mod Podge. You need something to get rid of the glossiness if you have glossy paper. If you don't have glossy paper, then it doesn't matter. Then you can just start, do whatever, stick on whatever you want. And there's a tip, a special tip for you. These cute little canvases. But, as you can see, I'm going to open it up, take plastic off. I don't know what else. Plastic all over everything. But see how warped it is? Not good. See, what you do is, you want a tight canvas, as tight as possible, especially when you do canvas, because it's really hard to stick stuff to a bouncy canvas. It's way easier to use something straight. So what you do is, you get a spray bottle, spray the canvas on the inside, and just try to get it all, not super wet, but just make sure the water goes everywhere. Then you spray the top, and just and you need quite a bit, and make sure you put lots on it. Put a little, especially like in the corners. I'm not going to finish this now, but you know what, you get the idea. Make sure it gets everywhere in the corner, everything is wet. You let it dry, and then you have a nice bouncy canvas. See? You hear that? How tough that is? That's the same thing. This one was really soggy. So I wet it and then glued the stuff on. These are all magazine cutouts, and then I just embellished it with different paints and markers, and yeah, and it came out pretty neat, isn't it? Anyway, very important tip, wet your canvas. And if you have a big one, that's this little one here, just because there's still a lot of surface that can bounce. It's already bouncier, see? Not quite done yet, still, but look, compared to before. What you do is you take something that's a similar size, stick it inside the canvas like this, and then it's nice and flat, and you can see. Move that away. There, and then you have way better grip on putting, especially if you put collage on it. It's really hard to put collage on a bouncy canvas, even if you did this wet preparation. This way you have better traction. Landscape sketchbook. And what I used here is an old painting, one that I don't really want it anymore, and just cut pieces off or tore pieces off and kind of arranged it in a landscape way. See, this is different. This is all from the same paintings, just different ways of doing it. I really like this. I'm gonna probably turn this into a series on some kind of a canvases. But this just shows you that you don't need to go and buy some fancy multimedia, mixed media supplies some of the artists sell. You can just use whatever you have. So I just stuck it on here with glue, painted around it and just embellished it again with some pens and markers. I actually cut this in part to make it long and skinny, and the other one is I use for a journal, the square part of it. Markers, pens, and this cup. These are all cheap from the dollar store. Some of them I already had from before, from the kids. There's some old crayons in here and pens, and yeah. Just go through your cupboards, go read your kids' craft supplies and get going on, and yeah, just use that. Same thing with brushes. I just have old cheap brushes. Well, MixedMedia they get really dirty and messy anyway, so even if you wash them. I told you you can use acrylic medium and gesso to put on your whatever substrate you have to prepare it to make it easier to stick, but you also can use this for glue. This is a great adhesive, matte medium. Of course you can use Mod Podge, but Mod Podge is very expensive. You can make your own, but I haven't tried that yet. Don't have time for that. Of course you can just use your regular glue, especially if you do glue book where you actually just put collages in it. This is a white glue, school white glue, that works very well too for big surfaces. I also have a clear glue. Sometimes if you have something 3D you want to put on, like you know, a little piece of wood or a piece of jewelry or some gems, this works well. It's almost empty. I used it well. It depends what you glue on. You can use different glue sticks, no, adhesives. This one I used matte medium. So it was the best, gave them all the flattest result. I did, again, I put something behind there to make it more even, not so bouncy. For this here, I think I used a combination of glue sticks and the white glue. Because it's a thick paper I put on there, so it kind of needed a little more. The glue book is what it is. It's what it's called. It's just you glue pieces of mostly magazine pieces, making a collage out of it. It can be like something more with a actual focal point. Here, and I use different colors, or it can be like this, making like a spread, like that. Same thing, just colors. This is more like a nature landscape one. I don't know. I'm actually gonna make a new one tonight with this head. I feel like I haven't done much art lately, so glue booking is always easy. It just gets my brain going again. Okay, so I'm just going to use the glue stick for that. That's not a very good glue stick, but you can get the white ones, they're a little better. Okay, then next is you can use acrylics, you can use watercolors. Here, this one. I used a combination of watercolors, inks, and acrylics. Again, just use what you have at home. You can just cover it first and then you build on top of it. You don't have to have know what you want at the end. You can just start with the color. Get inspiration with the color, or you see a piece of like this. These are actually magazine pages I cut out and I just painted on top of it for this magazine. Or yeah, this one is a magazine page, but I painted on top of it. And nothing. That's what's behind here has nothing to do with what I painted on top. Inks. This is just watercolor. Simple. So the sky is pretty much the limit. The best thing is you just start. Don't worry about it. Find whatever supplies in your house. Get them together. and just start gluing. And just maybe if you, you know, consider the tips I gave you today, you will be successful after a while. The thing is, you need to just practice. Make sure you check out last week's video where I showed you. I made this colorful spring spread here, which I used all kinds of stuff on here. So you have to go watch it. Okay. Make sure you watch that video. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see more of these videos. And like them, and leave me please a comment if you have any tips you would want people to know. You know, a really good tip that people need to know about. So please leave it in the comments. It's always nice to help other people out. Okay, have a good day. See you in the next one.